Good afternoon once again. John Verlin, On-Demand Advertising Solutions, Digital Marketing Update. This is the 42nd podcast. And today, great article in Street Fight Daily from April of 2015, actually a couple of years old, but it's very pertinent today. So if you own a small business, you're going to want to hear about this. Liz Tarasi wrote this, and she interviewed Molly Day, the Vice President of Public Affairs for the National Small Business Association. And she's talking basically 7 things small businesses want from marketing technology. Okay, that stands to reason. She says that there's $50 billion being spent 2 years ago in 2015 in local media. Now, if you're using your local magazine, TV, radio, whatever, that's what she's talking about. And small business contributes 1 out of every $3 in local marketing. Now, she's talking to Molly Day about the still mixed relationship with the tech industry, what they're looking for in marketing products, whether small business merchants are better off today than a decade ago. So first question she has is, help us understand the psychographic, demographic shifts that are happening in the small business community. Some argue that the small business owners are getting younger as the older generations retire. Are you seeing this? And Molly's response is real similar to some of the things I've commented on. She goes, yeah, we're definitely seeing a drop-off in entrepreneurship in new small businesses. There's definitely newer, younger businesses coming into the market as the baby boomers age away, so to speak, and step out of it. But it's not at the rate that we've seen previously. And that's just based, she says, on firm births and deaths over the last 5 to 10 years. Now, this is 2 years ago, and as the economy has been growing, I'm sure we are seeing these younger millennials and younger people starting businesses. I know I worked with a bank for small businesses, and we had a lot of younger people, 30, 35, that were starting checking accounts for small businesses. Second question she has, small businesses have generally had a mixed relationship with technology in that technology industry. And given your research, how has that relationship evolved over the last 10 years? What's driving their criticisms of Facebook and Yelp and others? Well, Molly says she thinks it's twofold. A lot of business owners look to those companies as tools to help get the word out, expanding their customer base, and yet today the majority of small business owners, even ones that, a little older, not always as technologically savvy, are overwhelmingly on LinkedIn and more on Facebook and more on Twitter. I see that too, and I'm over 50, let's say. 2 weeks ago, had a relative, 73-year-old relative. We were talking about a new smartphone for him. He's got one that's a dated smartphone, and he was looking at some of the latest models, asking my opinion. A 73-year-old man wanting to use a smartphone. I know there's nothing crazy about that, but I just thought that was interesting. Although he admitted his usage was primarily texting to grandkids, Facebook, searching for things, Amazon's changed everything when it comes to shopping on your smartphone. And I keep pointing this out in a lot of these podcasts. The technology has changed of what people are doing with the technology, and businesses, particularly small businesses, need to be aware of this. That whole thing has shifted. I call it the millennial shift. Now, Molly also says that business owners are learning that being engaged is really the best way to do this. Perhaps if you get a negative review on Yelp or on Facebook, to respond back to that person. She says, I think that learning that if you're going to get involved in these online tools and social media, you really have to commit to it. You have to be all in or not at all. And I agree with that. I mean, that's been my experience in talking to small businesses. And a lot of them are just learning this. Oh, I need to be on social media. Well, you're either all in or all out. But what's going to drive you to become all in? I think it's going to be the fact that your customers are going to be saying something to you. They're saying, I couldn't find you on the internet, or I went to a Facebook page and you didn't have one. That again comes down to the marketing platform we've talked about and the perception, the brand perception. All of the things I've been talking about on the podcast we've done talk about building that marketing platform and promoting it. This is one of the major things, particularly in trying to get future customers, younger customers, where they're savvy to all of this, more savvy than I am. Okay, so this is why this all in on social media, you need to rethink that if you're not doing it, because it's where it's headed, it's where it's been going, and it's one way of ensuring that you'll have future customers. Third question, have small businesses evolved as buyers of technology and marketing tools? And she basically says, well, it's one of those areas they're putting money into because it's cost effective. You certainly need to put money into it, but maybe not as much as hiring another person to handle marketing the way they used to, say, 20 years ago. She says business owners are very in tune with that, and this is no different than, using e-commerce or internet solutions to expand their growth. But again, this is one reason I started this business, was seeing that need for small businesses or businesses to expand or hire a marketing person just like they did 20 years ago. It comes down to, though, experience, savviness with the new technologies. It's a fine-edged sword a little bit. What I like to offer is the freelance capability so they don't have to commit to a full-time person unless they want to, because I can do either or type of thing. But that is one thing she said, Molly said, that they need to be cost-effective, and they are considering various options when it comes to the marketing, just like accounting and taxes and things like that. Now, apart from a lower price, what do small business owners want from technology? Is it easier for them to run their businesses, more customers, a better way to interact with their existing ones? Molly basically indicates that, bottom line is always important. I think second is responsiveness, and that's a really key thing for small businesses because they often don't have people who take care of HR, then somebody else for taxes and somebody else for accounting. It's all on that one person, that business owner. They want systems that are responsive and quick and efficient and doesn't take a lot of their time. As far as what's driving them to get more engaged, yes, I think reaching out to more customers is certainly the biggest driver in that. And again, this comes back to what I've been talking about, getting involved in social media. This is the whole new, if you see on my website near the bottom, Mr. Patel in Inc. magazine, I put a quote from him saying that customer experience, user experience, this is the new marketing, the engagement with customers. This is the new marketing. Let me repeat that. Customer engagement is the new marketing. That's what she's talking about. You have to get engaged with your customers. Now, how are you going to do that? Direct mail, couponing, or social media? This is why I keep talking about social media so much, because this is where customers are engaged in. You may have a neighborhood Facebook page. My community has one. There's like 9,000 members. And every day I'm seeing a post on Facebook about, I lost my cat, or I'm looking for a used mattress, or, well, not that, used furniture, or has somebody tried the new Dairy Queen? Or I want to shout out and thank the Walmart locally for helping out when my car was stalled in the parking lot. Whatever it is, they're engaging on that Facebook, good or bad, and there's been some bad. And some local businesses that had they not known, and I know of a few that were not engaged on that platform, and there were some negative comments, and they found out about it after the fact and raced to try to answer it, and that you don't want to be in that position. Okay, so number 5, do you believe that technology and the internet has made small business more or less competitive with large brands, for example, say than a decade ago? She says, well, technology has probably made small business brands a little bit more competitive, but it's also made them more vulnerable. Again, when you got one person doing HR, the CEO, accounting, all that, it's up to you to make sure your systems are protected. That's kind of a mental drain for a lot of small business owners. It's the cybersecurity issues. Internet's made things a lot easier, but again, it's making sure you're protected on the internet. So cybersecurity investment's probably a great idea. Number 6, what are the biggest threats that you see to the growth of small business market in the U.S. today? Well, she says the members of the Small Business Association say they're most concerned with economic insecurity. Now, this is 2 years ago. I doubt that's changed. There's this looming fear based on the Great Recession that the economy could go that way again. That biggest fear, and I think honestly some of it's driven by policymakers, whether it's the debt ceiling showdowns, government shutdown, whatever. There's just a lack of confidence in the elected officials. And she says she thinks that's driving some of the economic insecurity. There's also the geopolitical situation with today North Korea, China, a lot of those things. Again, it's tied to the elected officials, but it's also a reality of doing trade today globally. NAFTA, Pan-Pacific trade agreements, all those sort of things. So she said we're seeing some parallels between a market drop-off and new startups, tax codes more complex. You get a tax break now, then 2 years from now it'll go away, then it'll pass retroactively, and you have 2 weeks to make a decision about a $25,000 purchase, and mountains of regulation and paperwork, and that more hurdles, making it more difficult for people to run a business. So she thinks that's contributing to the fewer startups. And finally, the seventh question and seventh thing that small business owners are wanting from marketing technology: what do you expect to see as key trends among small businesses over, say, the next year or two? She says, well, we're going to see more and more small businesses looking at expanding their social media interaction. She says right now it's about half of them. They're actively engaged in social media, but we're going to see an increase. Plus, a growing focus on marketing to younger generations in an effort to not only expand the current customer base, but also grow the continuity of that base, as well as alternative financing options for small businesses to get loans. 31% said in a survey they couldn't get adequate financing 6 months ago when this was taken. And I know a bank I worked with, they were starting to offer micro-business loans for small businesses for this very reason. So 7 things that small business owners are wanting to know about marketing technology and what they want from that. John Verlin, On-Demand Advertising Solutions.com is the website. You can reach me at johnverlin12 at AT&T.net. We'll talk to you next week.